So our last official panel, I guess, or session presentations for the day, I'd like to introduce Mirko from Social Fixation and Kristy from Grinders Coffee, who's our head of digital. And they'll be talking to us today around elevating your hospitality business online. So I'm going to pass over to Mirko to get started.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you to Grinders for having me. And we'll try our best to, talk about social media and anything sort of online and how to grow digitally. And as far as myself, I run a media agency that covers and work with cafes, restaurants, food and drink businesses. So this is sort of our bread and butter.
Well, we're not running to script, but I'm Kristy. I think I've met most of you, which is fantastic, but those of you that I haven't, hello. Can I just say a bit about myself? Take it away. I think we've got a few minutes, so it's a little bit more about me. I've been at Grinders for the last 3 years, and enjoyed absolutely every single moment. I've got 10 minutes today after Mirko, and we're going to walk through how we can help you as a cafe owner accelerate your business online in partnership with Grinders Coffee. Look, I love every single acronym that's got to do with digital media: SEO, SEM, SEC, PC, click-through, CTR, CPA. I feel like anything that's got an acronym is assigned to digital, but we're going to walk through it slowly so we can ask lots of questions, nail what you want to ask, grab me afterwards at drinks later and we can talk a little bit more. But I'll pass to Mirko first.
She's done this before. Let's work off this. Grow your digital presence. That's obviously the title, and it's quite a mouthful, but I'll hopefully be able to go over these slides nice and easy. I know you'll try to check how many slides. It's not too many, but we'll try to go through them nice and slowly. What is a digital presence? So digital presence, we pretty much consider anything that's digital and that you can access from your phone. So we're talking social media, paid media, websites, Google, so therefore your SEO and anything that you find sort of online. So publication still falls under this realm. And why should you play in the digital space? This is probably the question that I get asked the most every single week. And it's sort of the easiest to answer. First is why not? Most of the digital spaces are free. You don't actually need to pay to be on social media. You just need to sort of be on it. And these are the 5 easiest ways to look at it. Attention, that's where people are. So for me, when it comes to analyzing a market or when we are marketing a client, we look at where is the attention of their desired target demographic. And brain recognition, I believe that you all had some tasty Loon croissants this morning, and I actually never had a Loon croissant, but I know about Loon. So I feel like that's something that I always go back to as an example, because I remember when I was working for a previous company, the HR lady used to fly in from Sydney, and always she would fly back with Loon croissants. And for me, it's always interesting to look at how did I get to this point. Yes, they do really delicious croissant, but their online presence is probably one of the strongest when it comes to doing the right thing in the right way. So the fact that you all knew, well, I'm assuming most of you knew Loon, sort of plays on to why is it important to have a good digital presence. New eyeballs, I think when it comes to a cafe, rely on traffic. Food traffic is important, but you can't just rely on that because people move out, people change, there's a new shop to go to. So the minute that you are applying and try to grow digitally, you're able to gain new eyeballs, and it could be a whole different demographic that you can reach through a different social media platform like Pinterest or TikTok, and then you're trying to capitalize on it. Opportunities. When it comes to socials, we see a lot of cross collaborations happening. So you can think of Messina partnering with another retailer, or you can think of Lune Croissant or a coffee roaster partnering with a UGC creator or a whole different brand to start or launch or do a PR activation. So I think when you have a strong digital presence, a lot of opportunities that you were not considering sort of start opening up. I just came back from MICE and I saw a lot of creators that I know, and they were all like involved with other companies and other brands. So I feel that it's, again, you can leverage off their audience, but also you can actually open up the market for opportunities that not necessarily just are around your shop. And scaling, of course, the objective is to get more traffic through the shop, and scaling, it should be obviously the natural result of it. Platforms that I suggest to all our clients are Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube. Now, when it comes, of course, meta platforms, photography and carousels are still sort of relevant, as well as graphics. But of course, the entire space is moved towards short format videos. So this is where I feel that the distribution is really important when you are able to create a short format video, and then you can distribute it across all platforms. So you can obviously reapply that content. TikTok, short videos only, although you can do carousels and stories, but that's probably a platform where you sort of just want to push out again your short format videos. Pinterest is probably the one that I'm assuming that might surprise you to be on the list, but we have seen a big surge on Pinterest in terms of being able to grow at an organic level. So here is a good chance to grow your female audience, but also to, again, get those new eyeballs that are a little bit more difficult to get to on other platforms, a little bit more saturated. So we've seen really good result on Pinterest. And YouTube, you don't need to be a YouTuber to post on YouTube. Shorts get a lot of traction. So again, you can repurpose your content on YouTube. What is organic content? This is probably a big slide, and I don't have all afternoon, but this is where organic versus paid comes into the hardest part sometimes to explain when we discuss social media with businesses, because obviously as a business you want return on investment, and not often it's easy to translate what organic is bringing you compared to paid. Paid you can track, you see you've spent X amount of dollars and you got this many clicks. Organic is all about brand building and making sure that you're actually showcasing what you do and building a bit of an audience. And it's just as important, because I feel that without organic, it's really difficult for someone to convert a paid ad once they land on your social media page and there's not much happening. So I think at the moment, the audiences are quite well educated on what a paid ad looks like, and it's a little bit more difficult to convert unless they are ads that are similar to what you would expect on a social media platform. So anything UGC created, user-generated content creation style videos tend to convert more, and that's simply because the person scrolling feels like they haven't actually left the platform. It seems like it's another piece of content on the platform. Therefore, they take the time to actually watch the video, and then eventually it might convert. When it comes to organic content, the place that I would start, if I was any of you, is probably just sort of a big white paper or a whiteboard and come up with your content pillars. What is important for your business to showcase? What are the values? What's something that you really want to show on a daily or weekly basis? And usually picking 3 or 4 is probably recommended. It could be offering, it could be team, it could be culture, it could be even showcasing behind the scenes, like, a bit of love for your suppliers. It could be your fruit and veg or your locals, anything really. And you can then break it down, and it'll help to build structure to then go into production. Content types, there's heaps. This is where you play by your strengths. If you're good in front of a camera, videos are great. Photography is also another type of content, as well as written. And audio is a little bit more complex for a cafe in terms of starting a podcast, but if you love audio content, I would not stop you to start a podcast about how difficult it is to run a cafe, or talk about, or having special guests inside your cafes, and you're just the provider of that podcast. I think that's actually quite an interesting angle. And like I touched base earlier, you can't really have a paid ads without organic, especially for a cafe. I think people would come to your page, and if you're not actively posting on social media, they might feel a little bit out of space, that you've had this beautiful curated video promoted and it's a sponsor ad, but then the page is not active. It sort of kind of lacks that final conversion. And audience, the audience part when it comes to content is to try to build an audience. I mean, it could be your regulars, John and Jennifer, that comes into your shop and you know them very well, but building an audience is what makes sort of like a social media profile much more likely to be followed and engaged with. So you're trying really to build an audience, and it could be 100, and it could be 1,000, and it could be 20,000, but it's just having that in mind when you post. I think it's very important. Common errors. This is things that we see day in, day out. I see it on the platform. I see it with people that we worked with or currently work with. The easiest one is the first one, products only. A lot of hospital businesses tend to sort of overly focus on just posting about their products. But then if you think, how do you engage with social media profiles? Who do you follow? Probably they're not heavy product pages. So flooding the feed with products, it's probably not a good angle to go about it. In fact, you more than have, you should look into something like Red Bull. Strangely, they barely post any cans on their page. It's all about crazy other things, but they rarely post about their products. Social media organic as a selling tool. Fortunately, I think this is the second most common mistake. Thinking that social media is a sales tool alone is probably not your winning horse. Simply, you need to answer the question on why are people on social media. They're not there to sell, to be sold to. They're there to learn or be entertained, or sort of like having a sort of like good time as far as doom scrolling. And once you see that, you sort of look at it from those horrible infomercials that you get at 10 o'clock in the morning, if you ever seen them. You don't really want to be in that spot. Not posting enough. Posting once a week is just not really considered active. Posting daily, different type of content would probably be the most accurate thing that you can do. Overthinking. The most successful accounts that we see, they simply don't overthink what they do, how they do it. They just simply post it. I mean, I remember the guy who stopped drinking fizzy drinks on TikTok during COVID, and he has now 250,000 followers, and he literally counts the day of times that he stopped drinking fizzy drinks. And they are the most horrible videos, grainy, and yet he has built an audience, and lots of opportunities to him have come from just simply posting. And overcomplicating. Everyone has probably a smartphone in the room, I'm assuming. Some of you are holding it, great. Some of you have smartwatches too. So that's really all you need, a smartphone. Production companies and agencies like ours are great. We can produce beautifully crafted content to any liking, but you really have everything that you need when it comes to posting on social media. How, though? That's a big question that we get asked. The answer is do it like a Sandra. Little disclaimer, I've never met them. They're not a client of mine, and they just seem to be doing the things that any cafe should be doing. And they sort of understood what the brief was when it came to posting on social media. So obviously there's a lot of examples. I found this was probably the easiest to put forward. Started in 2021, they were posting every single day, and it was heavy on products, terrible edits, and they were capping at that 1,000 to 2,000 views, and it was just not happening for them. So they stopped posting in September. 2022, they were not posting as often. They started slowly showing staff members and test new content, but then sort of sizzle out. 2023, it's when things started really happening for them. So they revamped the content. There were more talk-to-camera videos, and they started getting some serious traction. I'm talking millions of views on some of the videos, and that's when they were, okay, this is happening. We have an audience. We need to keep going on to it. And currently, they are doubling down on what's working, maintaining the momentum, and start a new page. When I look at an account like this, their caffeine offering is maybe not something that I even would go for, but what they're doing on social media is, I would say, a blueprint. So if there's anything that you get out of this today is, if you go and watch what these guys are doing, I think you understand that it's just more than just showcasing their products. In fact, soon we're gonna have 3 examples, 3 videos. So the key ingredients for them were testing. So if you scroll the way back to their very first few videos, you sort of see a lot of sort of like fun, fast music showing the food, and then you start seeing them playing a little bit around it, getting other people involved, staff involved, and the testing allowed them to get to a space where they found what worked for them, and that's when they were like, okay, this is what we need to do more of it. Persistence, probably the biggest. I'm glad that they didn't give up in 2021, because obviously this probably has changed their business dramatically in terms of sales, and keep showing up and keep going at it was the key element for them to actually reach the amount of followers that they now have across 3 different platforms. And doubling down, working more on what's working is sort of like built the resilience and the strength of the page, and now they have constantly really high views. And now you might think that they do very high, complicated videos, but as you will see in a minute, they're pretty simple.
A mocha is just an adult hot chocolate. A flat white is a beginner coffee. Espressos are the whiskey shot of the coffee world. And a macchiato, it's more posh drink. More eastern suburbs than out here. And lattes are the best type of coffee. I like lattes.
This video drives me crazy because it has nearly 7 million views. Talking about opportunities that have been reposted by a lot of pages and had hundreds of millions of views. There's a blue chuck, which is dirty, and I hate it. There's people walking past, and if I was shooting that, I would not have shot it this way. But it doesn't matter, because it has 7 million views. The next one is what kitchen bell means.
Food is ready. Can you hurry up, please? I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna seriously kill you if you don't take it.
Again, nothing of high production here. It's just about getting different people of the team involved. And I don't know, then they built a whole new series just around him because he was famous, and they just sort of continued the momentum on that video. But again, very simple. Yeah, and this, I think, again, was about 5 million on Instagram and even more on TikTok. And the next one is one of the most recent, and again, it's just simple.
How well do the managers know our fresh juices? I'm going to put the girls to the test and see if they can beat me. I'm very confident because I wrote these recipes, and if I get them wrong, I'll be very embarrassed. So let's go. I feel like it's plain orange juice. I think that's the refresher, the watermelon one. I think that's detox. Immune booster, for sure. I can taste the beetroot. Is that a morning burst? Oh, I don't know now. Oh, that's a detox. Oh, that's immune booster, detox, tutti frutti morning burst. Wait, what do we have? What am I telling you? Oh, is that a citrus Z? Maybe. That's got watermelon. Oh, that's detox for sure. I mean, it's nice. It's just immune booster, detox, citrus Z. This is either a refresher or a tutti frutti. I'm not sure. I can't taste the mint. Tutti frutti. Oh, did I? Oh, shit.
again, it's just another fun video. They got the team involved, and I think this is sitting just under 1 million at the moment on Instagram.
A mocha.
Oh, one more. Why does it work? Their content, I mean, there's many reasons why it works, but I would say it's probably relatable. So, I mean, we all have probably worked in OSPO here, so the kitchen bell is something that we all have experienced, the 1, the 2, and the 3, and more, a few times actually. So I think relatable content is then shareable, because if you can relate to it, you engage with it, you comment, you tag your friends, baristas, or your colleagues, whoever you need to tag to, or remember the old days, or you send it to someone. So the fact that it's relatable is very much shareable, but people will have a higher finishing rate of actual watch time, which actually is an incredible metric, because you kind of want to go through and watch the video entirely. It's provoking some of their videos more than the others. Of course, if someone drinks a mocha, they might have felt a little bit offended, or they might be like, hang on a minute, no, I like my mocha because of ABC. And I feel that when it comes to provoking, quirky videos, you give the audience an arena for comments, and comments is another incredible metric that you want to pay attention to. Because when you have people fighting in the comments, it's actually really good for your engagement. So that's something that you sort of want to keep in mind. And insightful, I mean, the insightful part was not really for the 3 videos. They've had a lot of simple videos like explaining why they put a blue chalk in their sandwiches boxes to keep the moisture of their sandwiches. They showcase even behind the scenes and elements of like their fruit and veg suppliers, and very interesting stuff for people who are, I guess, in the industry or their customers, because their customers, they never see the behind the scenes. They come in, they order a coffee, they might sit down, they don't see all the things that go through putting together a catering order, putting together an order, or what does it look like. They actually recently just packed a video, they did a packing video for the 206th Uber Eats order, one of their most loyal customers, and then they sort of like use that video to put little goodies and freebies and whatnot. The results: combined 175,000 followers, approximately between 50 and 100 million views combined, and an engaged audience. I would say that if you had a tenth of these results, would be really, really good. So I obviously don't know them personally, so I can't, reach out and ask them what that meant for their revenue. But we noticed that they start a whole new page just for the catering business, and that sits at about 45,000 followers. And I believe that that means that if they've done that move, it's because their demand for catering orders just significantly increased thanks to their online presence. Where from here? Well, you can copy and paste. That's the beauty of social media. Like, there's no proprietary elements of sort of like what you do, but you do in your style. Another key ingredient for me was they really have fun with it. So it doesn't have to be necessarily you, but you might have the right talent in-house. The process. So from here, you sort of want to always start from a content strategy point of view. This is where you sort of set your content pillars. What platforms are you going to post on? And what kind of trends, what kind of ideas do you like? I think they're starting from like a big, again, I love whiteboards. I got a huge one in my office, or blackboard. It's a good place to start, because then you can sort of set the foundation on where you want to go. Content creation, finding the right talent within your team, or I would highly suggest for you to give it a good go, is the first step. And then creating a routine. I would say setting a day where you plan for the following week, what pieces of content are you going to shoot. It's really important, because then you fall into a routine, into a cycle where you get used to when Monday, it's shooting day. We shoot for 4 hours. We create all the content on Monday, and then such and such is going to post every single day because the content is stored up. Obviously, there's great apps like Notion, and you can simply, store everything into a G drive. It can be very inexpensive to actually set up a good system. But I would say creating that routine and process is really good. Try different flavors. here is where you have fun. Maybe you always wanted to be a vlogger, a YouTuber, and you want to grab your phone and just narrate the day and how the day goes and all the behind the scenes. Go for it. Distribution. Here, as many platforms as possible. Nobody probably knows you on YouTube because you never posted on YouTube. Great. So you don't have to even worry about what you're posting up. Change the copy accordingly if you do so. Here, the application usually is for B2B in the sense of if you're posting on LinkedIn, the copy is going to be very different than Instagram. I feel that for you, the copy doesn't necessarily need to be overly changed. And platforms rules, of course, the application of how long a video maximum can be for YouTube Shorts. It's going to be a little bit different than your Instagram Reels and so forth. Testing, going back to Cassandra, they did test a lot of styles. So trying 3-4 different types of content, different flavors, it's probably the correct time now to do it. And you can always delete it. If you really hate something that your team put up, I wouldn't delete it because sometimes it might take off. And if it goes viral, then why deleting it? But that's up to you. Enjoy the process, have fun with it, especially if you get, I don't know, your family involved or your friends or yourself. And, you know, nothing beats having a bit of fun at work on those times that are a little bit more quiet because, I don't know, it's not your rush hour. Reviewing, very important. What is working, what can we improve, and what comes easier to create is probably underlooked. I think if something comes easier to create, you can create more. Therefore, that's something that you want to review and sort of have that as an element of, okay, this comes easier for the team to create. Therefore, we're going to create more of this style and these types of content. Last but not least, ideal posting schedule. Again, obviously, this is not one that everyone needs to do so, but I would recommend a short video per day, or at very least every second day. So 4 to 7 short videos across your platforms. So we're talking Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. But you have to create the video once because you're distributing it, the same video, across the 4 platforms. 1 carousel every 2 days. Carousels tend to perform better on Meta platforms than a single picture. Just numbers that Meta has given us. Stories, 3 to 5 per days. Again, this applies to Instagram and Facebook. Stories is another playground. Maybe it's where you show more day-to-day elements that people don't really get to see because in 24 hours they're going to be deleted. So you are able to show even things that you wouldn't necessarily put on your feed. So having fun on stories, that's actually another good space. Graphics, if you do have graphics, because you got to make an announcement like it's Mother's Day special or trading hours or anything like that, I think graphics with the right graphic designer, if you have anybody in-house, it would be great in terms of keeping that branding element, the branding guidelines, so then it's on brand. And break up the feel a little bit. The graphics are a little bit of a, if you want to squeeze it in. But the videos and the carousel is probably the most important stuff that you want to post out on a daily and weekly basis. And that's me.
Thanks, Mirko. I'm going to stand up. Sorry. Sat down. And I'm going to put my glasses on, so that means it's business end of the day. So, and also I'm a little bit short-sighted. Thank you. I'm going to take up the last 10 minutes of the keynote speaking of everything that Mirko's just walked us through, but how we can do it with you. I don't want you to walk out of Mirko's and think, oh my gosh, I feel a little bit overwhelmed by content, reels, carousels, what do I choose? So I'm going to walk through it slowly, but like I said, grab me at any time or ask some questions at the end. I love a chat, as everyone can tell. Getting social. I'm going to let you read the screen, but I guess the keynotes that we really have to see here is that you have to show up. You have to be seen. This is where people are going to. It's a really good option to be there, and then we're going to partner with you to be able to show you how to do that. I think probably the key there, 6 million people use social media for online shopping. So we're saying that's for B2B, B2C, so you really have to show up and be seen. I'm going to jump straight into what we're doing in Australia, so you can sort of go, does that mean much to me? On Facebook, there's 16 million users in Australia. So, and not surprisingly, 13 to 17-year-olds aren't on Facebook, but really, really interesting, 24 to 35-year-olds is still the biggest user on Facebook. So those people that are coming into your cafe, of that age group, this is who you really should be talking to. And interestingly, of Facebook, because I'll be honest, I don't particularly love Facebook. My heart belongs to Instagram. However, at Facebook, it must be working. 80% of Australians spending on social media is on Facebook. So when you're doing those paid ads, which we're going to get to, this is where people are choosing to spend their money because Australians are clicking 24 times a month on an ad versus globally 12 times. So they're actively engaged. We're also the 4th biggest liker of globally in Australia on Facebook. So if you see lots of likes on your Facebook ad, it's because Australia's really, really engaged audience. Like I said, Instagram's after my own heart. It's 12 million. People spend, and it's shocking, but the numbers are falling. People are spending 10 hours a month on Instagram. More shockingly, on TikTok, people are spending 30 hours a month. Yeah, gobsmacking. You probably heard before UGC from Mirko. That means user-generated content. So that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be on TikTok, but sometimes people will come in and post to TikTok. So that's UGC. Don't feel overwhelmed by the acronyms. I know it definitely you can feel that way. But 30 hours. And then and of TikTok, 8.5 million and 350,000 Australian businesses. So to be honest, you know, we've got so we've got a social media person. We're not on TikTok, but we do use user-generated content on TikTok, and it works very, very well for us. And then just briefly, Snapchat. It's the only social media platform that's grown every single year over the past 9 years, and it's heading up to 8 million. So, and I'm sure when you guys are here next year, there'll be another platform that we'll be talking about. So we just have to be really open to what platforms are out there and how people are using it, and then how we can partner together so we can get you and your cafe to be on with the trends and how we can actually get you out there. So, how can we help? Mirko was fantastic and talked about content shoots, and I saw a couple of people bug out when they heard, you know, can you post once a day? We're going to, because it's tough, right? You're running a small business with, you know, you're doing everything, and then we're asking you to set aside 4 hours a week to get your content. So we're going to talk you through how we can possibly help you with that. And then the second thing is geo-targeting. So Mirko talked about paid ads. This is a specialised service that we're going to be offering you moving forward, and we're actually going to partner with you to show you how you can geo-target or basically pay. We'll do paid ads with you, and we can actually talk to that audience that's around you. And then the third one is social consulting. So we've got an amazing marketing team and specialists that we work with that will also be able to help. So anytime you're lost, you can reach out to your territory manager and ask those questions, and then we can put something together so you can understand it a little bit more. Right, social media content. Social content is our jam, so we love it. I'm going to show you something shortly that we did with Baton, who are an amazing customer of ours, and I'm really glad they're here today. We did one of the most beautiful content shoots that we've done to date, and we basically set aside some time and we went and took a myriad of beautiful content that they can now seed throughout their social media for the next 12 months. So this is basically how we do it, sorry, from our content perspective. But I'm just going to jump into... Thank you. Thank you for being my case example today. So we went to and did a beautiful content shoot, and then we put it into Reels. So just like Mirko was saying, is that once we get this content for you, then we can work with you to seed it across the platforms and put it into different bite-sized chunks that people want to consume. So we can do carousels on Instagram, we can do static posts, we can do reels. But basically what we do is we work with you to work out what your superpower is. So there may be 3 or 4. Baton's has got 10 or 12 because it's absolutely stunning. But you tell us and we work with you really closely to work out what your unique selling power is. And that could be your staff, that could be a croissant, that could be your delicious coffee because it's grinders, that could be anything that is your unique superpower, and we go in and we showcase that by taking a 2-hour content shoot at your cafe at a time that suits you, and then we give it to you on a Dropbox and you have got content to seed for the next 12 months. So that's one way we can work with you. And then the second way, which is really super exciting, and this is my passion piece, and I think we're going to be the first coffee roaster that's doing it with their cafe partners, but it's called geo-targeting, and it's basically paying for working with you to set a geo-target, which actually just means we pick postcodes around your area, and whether that means you're in Sydney and your Nick's shop and there's lots of people, so we target that very small, or we're in Perth and it's a little bit bigger and we have to extend those postcodes so it extends and it creates that audience. But what we do is we create a ring fence around certain postcodes and then we target them with the beautiful content that we've taken from your content shoot. So basically, Baton again, thank you, is what we did is we did the perfect blend with Baton, and it was an executional campaign that we did, but we created from their content some beautiful types of creative, but we spent like small amounts, and I know that probably, but $250 over 3 days, it reached 23,000 people of an average of twice, so they saw the ad over 3 days at least twice. And the popular age group of 25 to 34 to encourage them to come in and have a coffee. So that's exactly what we intend to do, walking away from the back end of this year, is work really closely with our cafe partners and try and work out, what target audience you want to target. We put postcodes into that, we put money behind that, and then we can actually reach who we want to see. The great news about digital marketing is that it's very, very you can see it. So if it's not working, we know, we can turn it off and we can turn it back on. If it is working, we continue to seed those ads. T's and C's, because I've only got one screen left because they let me, otherwise I talk for way too long. You're going to say, well, what's next and how do I get on board? Your territory manager is your best friend. So if you talk to your territory manager, you can work out what's a really good time if you want a content shoot. Once we've got that beautiful bank of assets for you, then we can work again with the marketing team to work out when we can start these digital ads, and then we share all those beautiful insights back with you so you can do it. We also teach you along the way that once we've done it with you, we'll roll it over a certain time period, but then once we share those insights as well, you can take those and continue to do it yourself. Thank you. Thanks.
Wow, that's a lot to take in, guys. I'm going to open for questions, but before I do so, because we're living in a digital era, you have to jump online or else you're going to be left behind. But I just want the audience to know, what are key 3 points that you want them to take out from your presentations each? Because it is a lot to take in, and let's be real, it's really hard to implement when we already have full-time jobs. So just 3 things you think, Mirko, that our audience should do.
I think starting from consuming social media, I feel that if right now you feel a little bit out of water in terms of actually making it, I think you'll start from actually watching what others are doing. It's always like, it makes sense, like chefs tasting new flavors and new spices. So same way you look at it, it's sort of like consume more social media, or at least from an angle of what can I do? And find the right talent within your team who can actually create the content for you on a daily, weekly basis, and sort of go for it, really. I mean, I think don't feel to be, don't hold back. Just post and just keep watching what it does and try to sort of look at it from an angle of why is everyone else doing it and they're doing a good job, and why wouldn't I be able to do the same? Because anyone can. I mean, Cassandra on the park they are not social media experts. They are just some awesome people who just give it a go.
I think the 3 things I would take out of it is don't just rely on who's walking past your cafe. You've got to extend that reach. I know it may seem overwhelming, but there's so many there's social media and it's working and people are doing it. So you need to be on board. So try to extend that reach, work with us. So the first point would be, you've got to think outside who's just walking past, and that may mean social media. And then the second point would be innovate. There's so many channels, which one works for me? You don't have to do them all, but trying one would be great. And then the third thing is rely on us, reach out to us it's not just the marketing team. You've got an amazing territory manager who's backed by a state manager. We've got amazing coffee specialists that have insights about brews and blends and coffees that can help. And then we've got a small specialist marketing team that, just not me from digital, but we've got B from brand, and we've got Courtney from localised, and we've got a brand ambassador. So you've got a really supportive coffee roaster behind you. So if in doubt, reach out.
Thank you. I'm going to open it to the room to see if there are any questions.
Good old email marketing fits into all of this new way of doing things?
Extremely important, as long as it's not overly promotional. So I feel like there's a lot of great tools that you have in the shop, like Pause, that actually connected, and actually you can grab a lot of emails, so you build really juicy 5, 6, 8,000 email subscribers. I feel the quantity and what's in those emails is sort of like key importance. And I feel it comes back to what emails do you open from businesses? Because if it's always something like buy one, get two, or 50% off, it sort of becomes always the same. The best email marketing that I see is from a company called Who Gives a Crap, which is, they do mostly toilet paper. They never really sell anything onto it. So they have a very much of a social media approach on what kind of posts they do. They have a playlist to what to listen to when you go to the toilet. Like, I know it sounds
funny,
which obviously for a cafe it's different because you're not selling a product online, but another key element and definitely to be used. If you're only doing promotion, just not too many, maybe once a quarter, because you want to be able to actually have good results. Otherwise, it's just going to drop onto people unsubscribing. That's all.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So we've seen Reels move from the use of music into talking to the camera and now the use of ASMR. What do you think is the best way to start getting Reels out there, and what do you think is going to create the most traction at the moment?
I would say that the next ASMR or the next talk to camera is just because someone start doing something and that sort of start working, keeping up and creating that momentum. I would say it's sort of, if there's something that you really enjoy creating and making, that is going to be always the best content, because actually it's the content you're going to post versus doing something that takes you, because obviously it has to be efficient. We got it down to internally when we had the dedicated team was sort of like 6 minutes per TikTok, because then you can actually create a lot, bank up, and you are done and dusted in a few hours. So I would say if it's taking too long and you're not enjoying the process, I wouldn't even do it. In terms of what's going to trend, I would say anything that's sort of your point of view. I don't see enough cafes showing the hard work that goes behind a cafe. Everyone just want to showcase the beautiful end product. I think being real is really good. There's a very young lad, I think he's in South Australia, and he just started a cafe at the age of 19. And you've seen him, maybe? Yeah. I think his content is great because people, I don't know, I want to support him. I want to go and visit him. He seems like a nice guy. And I feel that content, there is not a category other than his point of view and what he wants to share. Because, of course, there's elements like privacy and what do you want to show or not show. That you're in control, of course. But I'm not sure if that answered the question, but that's...
I'm going to try to speak slowly. First, thank you for featuring us. I didn't know we were going to be there today. But I think more so, I use Grindr since 1998, actually, before Open Beton. And why I choose Grindr is because there's a story behind. There's a family, an immigrant family that started. It got taken over, and a lot of people left Grindr back when this big company took over. And I saw opportunity. What we got today, and I'm not getting paid for that, is support. And literally, we got support for the last 20 years, especially with machinery, with grinders, with merchandising, barriers, all of that. We couldn't buy it, okay? It costs money. We are small coffee shops. So definitely the alliance is important. The story is important. Today we had the Lune Croissant. Is Lune Croissant the best croissant? Maybe not, maybe yes. But the story behind Lune is amazing. It's an amazing lady that was an engineer in Formula One. I buy the story. So like Grinders, I bought the story, and I think it's a marriage. It's like a relationship. I'm not going anywhere. I put money in the bank account every Friday. They deliver coffee every Tuesday, and it's how it works. You know, we look after each other, and I think you guys are doing a great job. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Very kind.
I am a 53-year-old lady and I have no idea what I'm about to say, so just going to put it out there. So Facebook is my best friend and I would flick for 20 minutes before I fall asleep. I probably buy everything that I see on Facebook and then I go and buy the skin care and all the shit that tries to make you look more beautiful. Anyway, and so this might be a real thing, but there's a lady in Brisbane called Brookie's Cookies. So she just literally... My question, instead of just telling you stories, is that she has consistency in the way she starts her reel. Is that a thing? Is that her magic power? And there's another lady that starts, I don't even know her name, but I watch her and she claps and she says good morning or something. Like, so there's this clap and that's how she starts hers. You can sell me anything, whatever you want me to buy, just give me your Facebook page and I'll buy it. But then Brookie Cookie, she just puts her apron on and says the life of a baker. And honestly, has anyone been that it's out the door? I can bake cookies better than her. So it's not the product.
I believe you. That's actually...
I make really good cookies.
That's actually really good observations. I mean, those are visual clues and they tend to grasp the sort of viewer. So some people, especially the talk to camera type of content, you see maybe someone start doing the makeup. It's actually called FaceTime effect. So the viewer feels like they are FaceTiming with the creator because it's casual, because there is no millennial pose, but we're not touching on the millennial pose today. And it feels like you're having a conversation, genuine conversation with that person because they're doing a makeup, she's putting her apron on, or there's that visual or sound clue that makes you, okay, what is the video going to be about even? But that actually draws you in. Or you can have obviously a verbal hook, which is top 3 mistakes that you can do as a cafe owner or whatever. And then if I'm a cafe owner, I'll be like, oh, what are they? I want to watch. And it's actually, I think you know more than you think, because the fact that you follow and watch content creators in different areas, there's still an application for your business. Because of course you watch what interests you. So understanding what your audience is interested in is really important. And yeah, Lune croissants might not even be the best croissant in the world, and these cookie company, I'm sure you bake them better, but those... But yeah, that's sort of a bit of a trend, going back on trends. If you're comfortable speaking to camera, if the viewer feels almost like they're FaceTiming you, it's quite a big trend at the moment, yes. So you're on the money. And testing. So I'm sure that if you scroll back, you will probably see some older videos of these creators not using that. They probably just found a format that works for them, and they sort of like got into that routine. It comes easier, it's more efficient. They actually get to make more and more content because they have that structure. And if it's easier for them and gives them the results, persistence and consistency will definitely get the job done, yes. But very good observation.
How does your posting, if you're posting every day, how does it go from just engaging your current audience to going viral? Or how does it grow? Is it because you're tagging people or people are tagging other people?
It's a numbers game, unfortunately. That's why we highly suggest posting daily. Because I think the more volume that you put out, the higher chances that one of those videos is going to get you momentum. There's actually a dedicated team on TikTok that they scroll all day and they decide which videos are they going to give some extra firepower. Obviously, the organic tabs are slightly tight, especially on Meta, and TikTok is becoming slightly the same. The reality is simple. They want you to spend money on ads to reach more people. It's really simple because up until then it's just free attention. You can just do whatever you want as long as you're within guidelines, and you get to, for free, send your video. And some of these creators have created an entire career out of just posting on a free platform. But yeah, quantity is important. And then, I don't know, like videos that tend to do well, usually provoking, relatable, interesting, valuable, especially if the production is not super high level. I would say that the style of content where it's sort of like gonna make people question or angry or want to comment, usually then the more action that they take on your video in the first 10 to 15 minutes tend to define the success of the video.
Any last questions? Oh. Well, thank you, Mirko. Thank you, Kristy.
Thank you.